SFTP News. Zoe Quinn's allegations, as it says right here in the post-millennial article, could be falling apart. This is by Anna Slatz of the Post-Millennial. It's a Canadian newspaper. It does lean right. Just to confirm that, let me go over some of the problems they have with her recent allegations against Alex Havalka and how they just don't line up with her tweets during the time that they stayed together in 2012. Now, I got a note right away. When Zoe put out her initial accusations, she did not specify a time and date where this took place. But we're also not aware that they stayed together in Winnipeg, where she claimed these assaults and abuse happened other than this. So we'll keep that in mind as well. Let's go forward to in August 28th, 2019 statement. Quinn claims to have been physically confined to Havalka's unit as well as isolated from the outside world. Tweets reveal a different story, with Quinn tweeting regularly throughout the time period in Winnipeg with Havalka, sometimes dozens per day, communicating with many others, describing Quinn's time in the city and documenting many excursions. She says, I tend to expect weird things. Well, we went to get fabric for making plushies today, and someone crashed a car in front of the door. Not entirely what I was expecting. Because spelling her last name proved difficult, I would admire the punchline of the pop star. I think I'm done with working on It's Not Okay Cupid, which was the project they were working on together at the time. That's why she had went up to Winnipeg. Plus, at the time, Mr. Havalka was her boyfriend for the night. Tomorrow, making a bunch of secret plushies. It's a comedy dating game without online dating. This basically shows, how much tweeting she's doing. So I ended up acting in the second act of a musical randomly today. Managed to memorize my lines somehow. Interesting day. I don't know what she's referring to, but if she's being literal, doesn't sound like she was isolated. Just wondering because I'm due back in Toronto for a bit after the 4th, though I thought it would be funny if we just missed each other's visits. So that kind of flies in the face of being isolated. She's going to Toronto. Perhaps she went with him, working on It's Not Okay Cupid in a coffee place that is playing Isley Brother and Isaac Hayes. Totally in the move to write romance. That doesn't sound like somebody that's being abused. In fact, they're in a coffee place. She's in a coffee place. Sounds like she seems to have a bit of freedom based on these tweets if they're at the same time, she said. Quinn and Havalka also arranged multiple indie game meetups, appropriately named Windy Peg. I get it. Indie Peg, Windy Peg. In mid-April and early May at the Urban Forest, where up to 38 other developers were present, many of which had been those Quinn had been interacting with through Twitter. So this does fly in the face of her being isolated. Winnipeg meetup tomorrow at Indie Games. Indie Games, the movie. 2 more days till I'm in Montreal and Toronto. Then TCAF this weekend. So many things. Sounds very active. Doesn't sound very isolating. Project Overboard sounds awesome. I can't wait to see what comes out of it. And and she was also on a podcast. This is one of the podcasts right here. Later in the podcast, Quinn excitedly describes day-to-day life. That would be important. That flies in the face of her allegations. My life right now is I wake up, I bullet on a game I care about very passionately, and I pass out from exhaustion.
Right now is I wake up in the morning, I bullet on a game that I care about very passionately, and then I pass out from exhaustion. That's my favorite part of games, is just being able to make something that intensely and have it be like something that I like just being able to do it full time, I guess.
Sounds like a pretty good shape to me. Now, I mean, was he good to her this visit, and maybe there was another visit that was abusive? That doesn't seem to make very much sense. Quinn's bombshell public statement also claimed that Havalka had taken control of Quinn's then project, It's Not Okay Cupid, the podcast, as well as Quinn's regular tweets while in Winnipeg after departure, challenged this assertion. This is her tweet. So this is the one email from It's Not Okay Cupid with all the choices and possibilities mapped out. Rough draft. Pew! Did Alex do that? Oh, man, I'm so sick. Let's see how writing dialogue on cough medication goes. This game needs more ridiculousness anyway. Sounds like a different person. You can also ask questions in the IRC room. I mean, there's no way to tell for sure, but it seems like she's well in control on this project, or at least contributing to it. When a boy game dev and a girl game dev love each other very much, they smash their heads together and a game comes out. It's not okay. Hashtag It's Not Okay Cupid. So I will leave the link to this particular, there's a lot more here. This is a well put together article. I will leave a link to this particular article and also this video that I watched that was very educational. If you're not familiar with Gamergate or Zoe Quinn, I would definitely check out Famous Fraud Zoe Quinn and the bloody cost of professional victimhood. So I would definitely check those, and those will be in the description box below. So under normal circumstances, I'd be looking very forward to get the other side of the story from Zoe Quinn, something that her and her ilk do not afford the people they accuse. You're accused. You're guilty. And if anybody questions that, you can forget a job in the indie game industry. I am not impressed with the indie. I was at Gamescom recently, and I got to be honest with you. So the retro guys, the AAA guys, seem to be very easy to deal with, and the indie guys seem to have their head straight up their ass. Not in all cases, of course, but the indie guys are the artistes. And I don't know. I mean, I know it takes a lot of artistic skill to excuse me, to make one of these. And I do appreciate gaming. You think? But I guess, yeah, it being angry at Zoe Quinn, while understandable, and it's almost like I'm as I learn more about Alex Havalka, I said this in a tweet, I'm learning what a tragedy is. I doubt I could be friends with somebody like Alex Havalka. I'm sure we're just too far apart on too many things. But I appreciate artists, and I appreciate that, you know, this is a guy that sat down, and it's not easy to make any. I mean, God, you don't have the resources. In a lot of cases, you have to sell lesser, older technology to folks on Steam. When, you know, there's the big AAAs, and the Call of Duties, and the PUBGs, and the Fortnites. Oh, it happened again. In that nature, and I do appreciate what it takes to take those older technologies and make indie games. I enjoy indie games. I really do. And rather than getting angry and talking about what a witch Zoe Quinn is, I think that's been explored by many YouTubers in 2014. I just keep thinking of what we could have got, most likely with that kind of talent, probably would have got from Alex Havalka. And knowing that from everything from Depression Quest to what was that little thing that she had where she was trying to fight harassment online, and then there was people being abusive in the group. Crash override. And then this recent Kickstarter that doesn't look like it's going to come to fruition. Hundreds of thousands of dollars donated. No result. So I know I'm never getting a result from Zoe Quinn, and I just think it's just tragic that the gaming world, I suppose, was guaranteed to get something from Alec Kavalka. And Night in the Woods is, oh boy, need some of that cough medicine, Zoe. Very well received. It's not my cup of tea. I need explosions, boobies. Nah, there's no boobies in games, but you know what? You catch my drift. That's my bag. But that's the really great thing about gaming. It doesn't have to be, all Mortal Kombat, all Call of Duty, all blood and guts. There's room for innovation there, and well, again, just tragic. Again, I'll be putting the articles in the description box below. Thank you very much for your time. We'll see how this story develops in the future, and I think it will.